the Pathway to Success Luncheon, sponsored by our esteemed Port Arthur Education Foundation. It's truly a pleasure to see so many dedicated individuals gathered here today, in spite of the weather, in support of our shared vision for educational excellence in our community. This luncheon serves as a testament to the commitment of our community towards the advancement of education. It is through events like these that we can come together, not just as stakeholders, but as advocates for the empowerment of the future generations. Today, as we sit together, we reflect on the profound impact that education has on shaping the trajectory of young lives. It's about providing pathways for our youth to dream, to aspire, and ultimately to achieve. I extend my deepest gratitude to each of you who have generously supported our foundation. Your contributions, whether through time, resources, or expertise, are instrumental in paving the way for the success of our students. Together, we are breaking down barriers and building bridges towards a brighter future. As we embark on this luncheon journey today, let us not forget the essence of our collective mission: to nurture, to empower, and to inspire. Let us celebrate the achievements of our students, the dedication of our educators, and the vision of our community leaders. Once again, welcome to the Pathway to Success Luncheon. With that, we want to welcome the presentation of our colors by our NJROTC program. Now, if you will please help me welcome Ariel Suniga to the podium for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Can y'all please take your hats off? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation, under God, one and indivisible.
Appreciate you. And now, if you will help me welcome Alfredo Chavero to the podium for our invocation.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to assemble here today. We ask that you impart your wisdom on these community leaders and ask for your blessing of this gathering. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
And last but not least, please help me welcome Esmeralda Reyes Puerto to the podium for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Thank you again to all of our students for their participation today in the preliminaries of our program. Now we're going to continue with the serving of our meal. So please feel free to make your way to the buffet lines and enjoy your meal as you visit with the fine people in this room. So bon appetit.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, we're going to get started in about 2 minutes. We'll give everybody time to get through that line, and we appreciate your patience. We know the weather is a little crazy, so we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get our program started. I want to thank everybody for being here. My name is Joe Tan, and I am currently the president of the Greater Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce. We are managing the Port Arthur Education Foundation, and we're excited that you guys are here. I'd like to introduce on stage a couple of individuals. First, your moderator, Mr. Elton Hollis, who's the general manager of RT Technical Solutions and 8th grade yo-yo champion of Kirbyville. Joining us also is Mr. Cole Wyckoff. He is the Senior District Director for the Texas Speaker of the House, Mr. Dave Hewlett, and our good friend, Mr. Blake Hopper, Deputy District Director, U.S. Congressman Randy Weber's office. We were also going to be joined by Brandon Kaiser, Deputy District Director for State Senator Brandon Crichton. Now, Brandon got caught in the weather that all of us got caught in, so if he makes it up, we will hustle him in place. And I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Elton Hollis.
Hey, Joe, I know you love a microphone, but can we hijack that? All right, welcome everybody. I would say it's nice to see your smiling faces, but everybody's chewing with their mouths closed, so we greatly appreciate that. We do have two distinguished guests here. I have the pleasure of calling both those guys my friends, even Blake. But it's great to be able to come out here and speak openly with people that love their jobs. Like I said, I have the pleasure of seeing these guys at a lot of the contractors groups out in the community and actually being active about what they're doing. And we appreciate that from those two guys. All right, so if there's any hard questions, we'll give them to Brandon since he's not here. That sound good to y'all?
Perfect.
All right, perfect. All right, so the first one, this is for you, Cole. How long have you been 7'2"? No, just kidding. How long have you been in your current role?
So I've been in my current role for close to 2 years now. I actually started out as a district director with Senator Brandon Creighton, and I was with him for about 3.5. So I've total as a district director in that capacity. I actually just hit my 5-year mark, so kind of happy about that.
Awesome, great job, thank you. How about you, Blake?
What was the question again?
You learn well from your boss. How long have you been in your current role?
I've been an employee of the U.S. House of Representatives for 18 years. I started in January of 2006 when Congressman Ted Poe was the congressman for the area, and I started with Congressman Weber after redistricting in 2013. So over 18 years.
Awesome, so you were 12 years old when you started, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you guys. All right, moving on. And we'll start with you on this one, Blake. How do you obtain a position working in government?
Well, if you're interested in working for an elected official or for the government, one of the first things I might recommend is doing an internship or a fellowship. It's a great opportunity to make connections, work in an office, get an understanding of the legislative experience, what all goes on to it, and the connections you have. That's important for any job, whether it's political, industrial, making connections is one of the most important things you can do. Of course, you need to have an up-to-date resume, very thorough with your experience, volunteer work, community efforts. And then I know that our office, we don't necessarily publicize the jobs, but if you're interested, kind of more word of mouth. So I would recommend getting involved with the party of your choice. That way, making connections, you can get the scoop from folks around there. So just really get involved with the local.
Thank you very much. And I feel like, and I'm just winging it here, but, you guys will probably get a lot of those questions, right? Hey, how do I get started in this? What do I need to do? Those type of things. And in the environment that we're in today, I feel like asking questions is one of the most effective ways to move forward in life. A lot of people don't ask the questions to move forward. And in your type of business, it's all about asking the questions and getting the facts right. All right, Cole, we'll save the hard one for last. All right, so you talked about moving roles and what you've done here recently. And the folks want to know, how are your duties working for Dave Phelan different than working for Senator Brandon Creighton?
So, working for the senator, when I worked for him, we do a variety of things, help local government, help constituents that call the office, things like that. I do a similar role over here as a district director, kind of the same role. But I will say, when I moved over to the speaker's office, it was interesting when I would call a state agency or however or someone, and I said I was from the speaker's office. I felt like there was a little more urgency there, just because, that's the third most powerful position in the state of Texas, and it's actually something very rare to have. Especially we haven't had a speaker in Southeast Texas since Reconstruction, so it's kind of a big deal. But that's kind of how the difference there. Just more sense of urgency, it seemed like, just because, we're up there in the sense of on the level of the governor and lieutenant governor.
Awesome, great job, thank you. So I just want to comment on that. You said that he was the third most powerful. So is the fourth most powerful? Is that the owner of Buc-ee's, or where does he fall?
It's either the owner of Buc-ee's or H-E-B.
I agree. Thank you very much, Cole. Okay, Blake, so what qualifications do you need to get a job in government?
Well, I have a political science degree from Lamar University. I wouldn't say that a college degree is necessarily required. You could substitute some work experience, military experience. There's a lot of different avenues you could take to get there. But officially, you need to be a U.S. citizen. There's a minimum age requirement of at least 18. They do a very thorough background investigation, credit history, so one night at the wrong place at the wrong time could really hurt you there, so very thorough background investigation. And unofficially, some of the qualifications, you need to have a big heart and thick skin. Got to be able to kind of roll it off your sleeves a little bit, and want to be able to help people. I love helping people. I love this community. I lived here my whole life, and you got to have a big heart and want to help.
Great. We appreciate that. And you talk about those thick skins. Man, when you're dealing with politics and government entities, and even if you work for the municipalities out there or DOT, people, you think about it and we look at the jobs that people perform. Sometimes we need to realize that you should stick to your convictions about the way you feel. Trust your gut. Don't compromise on that. But when it comes to dealing with the people side of things, with the heart and with the soul of the individuals like these gentlemen up here, we should remember to use some kindness and some grace, because at the end of the day, they all have families and everything that they go to as well. All right, Brandon, we saved some really hard questions for you. So, let me flip over to the good side here. All right, Brandon Kaiser's first question is, if you had to describe the theory of relativity, just kidding. So we want to know, what interests you to pursue the field that you are in now?
So I'd say my interest really started when I was in high school, late high school, junior, senior year. The 2016 election was going on, so obviously I think there was a lot of cultural focus on that election. Everybody, even people who traditionally wouldn't have focused on politics, were getting involved and looking at it. And then from there I went to change my major to political science when I first went up to SAM and started off from there.
Awesome. So, it's kind of a common theme that all three of you guys talked about is having to have the heart and the love for what you do. There's not a lot of folks that get into college or leave high school and say, hey, politics is where it's at, I'm going directly for it. So having that heart for it seems to be a common thread that you three guys have. All right. Okay, Blake. This is the shortest question we have, but it's probably the one that has the most effect to it. When you were interviewing for your current job, what were some of the things that really stood out to you during the interview process?
Well, it was a very thorough interview process. I had 2 different interviews with our district director, an interview with our chief of staff, and an interview with the congressman at the time. These are very highly competitive positions, so it's really important to really sell yourself. Make sure your resume is up to date. There's a lot of great resources out there for resume builders. I know different classes you can take. Just the thoroughness. Be sure to have plenty of examples, real-world examples of actions you've taken, results that you've had, challenges you've overcome, challenges you haven't been able to overcome.
Absolutely.
So it was very thorough. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Blake. All right, Cole. What level of education do you currently have?
So I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and actually from here at Lamar University. So.
Awesome. Good job. Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to ask you, this is the last question. It's going to be for all three of you guys, and we'll start with Brandon. We'll work our way around. We've heard you talk about the interview process. We spoke about the heart that you have to have. But, when you have a day job out there, we can't all have as much fun as Joe Tant has every single day, but we should love our job and enjoy our job. So our last question for this panel, starting with Brandon, is what is the most favorite part of your job?
I think the favorite part of my job is really the core of my job, and that's I get to go around, I get to meet great people, eat great food, I get to represent the senator in the district, and I get to take the concerns of the district back to our folks in Austin and back to the senator. And that's rewarding, especially when it's something dealing with casework, and I could see the actual change, the actual progress that's able to be made because we are able to help.
Good information in is good action out, right? Okay, Blake.
Favorite part of the job? Like I said, I do love helping people. There's nothing better than a family that's paid thousands of dollars for their trip. They need their passport, and you make that trip happen. A veteran who put their life on the line to serve us, and they're having some issues with the VA, and they call us at they're almost broken. And to help them, that really just makes my heart so happy. I love people, I love the community, and that brings me joy every day.
That's awesome. Great answer. So problem solving and helping folks achieve what they're trying to do. Great answer. All right, Cole, we leave it with you. What's your favorite part of your job?
So mine's kind of going to be some of the same. For sure mixing and mingling with folks, networking. I've met a lot of great people over my time in politics, working in my role. A lot of them in this room I call personal friends of mine. And the other one is definitely helping people. I mean, our bosses, and we're an extension of our bosses, our public servants at the end of the day. And we answer to our constituency. And so, we're out there. We have an office. Most people don't know about it, that we have an office there, and we're able to help people. People don't know. So I will say, just to add on to that, you ever have an issue with a state agency, federal issue, something like that, please reach out to our office anytime. That's kind of what we're there for, especially in the district capacity. We do these things, we do these events. Every once in a while we get brought up on stage, and even if we might not like it, because most of the time we want our bosses to do that. We're behind the scenes helping out and trying to do what we can for our constituency base.
Perfect. Great answer. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for the questions. Thank you for your time. Y'all give them a round of applause.
Folks, we are extremely blessed to have these individuals. Let's give them one more round of applause. This is not easy. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all. At this time, I'd like to introduce one of my absolute favorite people in the entire world, Miss Anya McGinnis, Community Affairs for Port Arthur LNG. Miss Anya, come do cool stuff.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. I also have the pleasure of serving as a member of the Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce with a lot of great folks that are here today. So thank you for supporting the Port Arthur Education Foundation Pathway to Success Luncheon. Brandon, Cole, and Blake, you guys, if you get a chance, especially you students, to visit with these gentlemen before they get out of the room, pick their brains. They have been in their positions. They meet people. They interact a lot with important people in this state, and they are just good guys to know. So I encourage you to connect with them. And Christian, I see you shaking your head there. As a former staffer to a former staffer to current staffers, the best person to know in an elected official's office is the staff. So get to know them. I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing someone that really doesn't need any introduction to us. He's a product of Southeast Texas, product of Port Arthur education. He's passionate about education. He started as a staff member to State Representative Joe Desitel. He started at 18 as an intern and worked his way up to chief of staff. I have the pleasure in another role that I play working around the legislature to interact with him and to see him interacting with people from all across the state. So we are so lucky now that he is the elected state representative that took Representative Desitel's place when he retired. So after his first session, I just want to highlight a couple of things. His first session was in 2023. He was just elected to serve a second term because he doesn't have a general election opponent in November, and he won by 74% of the vote. That is amazing. Congratulations. During his first session, he passed 6 pieces of legislation that actually made their way to the governor's desk and became law and will have a positive impact on this region. Let me tell you, that's kind of unheard of as a freshman, passing that many bills and getting them to the governor's desk. And he was recognized by the Legislative Black Caucus Committee as Freshman of the Year. He is passionate, as I said, about education and about this region, and how lucky are we to have State Representative Christian Manuel taking our needs to the Capitol and representing us. Representative Manuel? I don't know, where do you want him to sit, Joe? Okay, I think they want you to stand. Because I'm not supposed to be asking you questions. You're just supposed to be talking off the cuff.
Okay, so we're in the afternoon, so I'm gonna say good afternoon. It is an honor to be here. Again, I am Christian Manuel. I'm your state representative for House District 22, and I'm really happy to be here. And I'm gonna just kind of pick at one of my favorite people in here, Dr. Renard, who I adore and I love, because Port Arthur, Lamar State College Port Arthur is actually my alma mater. It is the place where I learned to be an effective writer, to be an effective critical thinker, and it was probably it was the most profound experience I've had in my life as far as an education. And I'm so honored to be here, and I would like to, because I can do this, I'd like you all to give a round of applause for Lamar State College Port Arthur and all the hard work that happens here. We're talking about education and the importance of it. And I don't think sometimes people realize the importance of the fact that we have over 4 colleges in our area within less than a 40-mile radius. That doesn't happen everywhere. And on top of the fact that we graduate students at an exceptional level within engineering, within nursing. I want you to really think about that. And there's a lot going on, but I want you all to really understand something. Some people say we're just Southeast Texas, that little place in the corner. And I'm gonna tell you, we are Southeast Texas, that big place in the little part of Texas in the corner. If we were not so important, why would we have so many universities here? If we were not so important, why would we not have the nation's oil reserves here? We would not have the refineries here. I think sometimes we forget the exceptionalism that we are here in this area because we are so used to it, as they say. You've been looking at yourself for so long, you forgot how great you are. And Southeast Texas is a great place to live. It's a great place to come from. And as a product of someone who, and I'm so glad, I'm gonna make a little tiny joke at her expense, my mother who finally got here, who was an educator, who's been an educator for most of my life, I want everybody to remember the importance of how important education is. And I'm gonna give you just a little background of how important education is. I'm dyslexic, very dyslexic. Now, part of it is I'm lazy, but the other part of it is I am dyslexic. And one of the people here in this room, and she's gonna get upset with me, but I am gonna call her out. At the time, she's Mrs. Fontenot. She's at table 26. Can you stand up really quick, please? When I didn't know where I was going, she was my high school counselor. And she would come into my rooms, she'd check on me, and when I would get out of line, she would say, "Do not make me call your mother." And one day I said, I'm going back to California with my dad. I'm not going to stay here. And she said, I don't care what you think you're going to do, but what you're going to do is you're going to sit down here and you're going to fill out this application and you're going to school. And I said, I'm not going to do it. And she says, do you want me to call your grandmother? So I filled it out. And that sent me to Houston-Tillotson for a semester. And in that semester, I went to go work for State Representative Joe Desautels. Now, it took me a little bit. I was rambunctious and I rebelled. I didn't do very well that first semester. And then I came back, went to Lamar, at Lamar University. And I say that because I want you to remember one other thing. That educator in that room right there, she made me go to school. She didn't let me quit. She sent me to the school that she thought would be beneficial to me. And that opened up an opportunity for me to run for office. So if you don't think education is important, if you don't think supporting educators are important, then you don't believe that I should be a state representative. Educators are the reason that I am here. I'm going to call out another person, one of the principals in here, Mrs. Baptiste. That was one of my teachers when I was growing up. And she always would say, stop goofing around, Christian, and do your work before I call your mama. I have seen what she has done to students like me who are passionate about politics, who are passionate about their area. I want you all to truly remember something. We are a beacon, we are a light. We are the center of East Texas, whether they want to say it or not, because they always come back here. We have the ability to have offshore wind energy that comes into this area, as well as having oil and gas in this area. We are so great that we often forget it. And I want everyone in here to take something from this and from my speech. We are nothing if we cannot learn. We are nothing if we do not understand where we are coming from. We are nothing if we don't understand by history, which is education, that for the first time ever, we have someone who represents Southeast Texas who's the third most powerful person in the entire state of Texas, which we have never had since Texas has been a state. That wasn't because I'm great or the speaker's great or you're great, it's because we are great. We can do great things together with the education that we have. And how we continue to do that is supporting every school in our district, by supporting the teachers in our district, the administrators in our district, the cafeteria workers, the bus drivers, the people who work the crosswalk, and everyone who supports them. Because I'm going to close out here and say this. I want you to remember the one thing that I said. Had it not been for an educator in this room who didn't give up on a dyslexic child, who did everything to survive, instead of saying, I can't read this, I wouldn't be a state representative. I wouldn't have got the help that I needed. If I didn't have now a principal who told me to stop goofing off, I wouldn't be here today. And I want you to remember that. These are educators who are still in this district. So imagine if they raised me, what are they still doing in this area to raise up the people in this community? So let's support our teachers, because there's an ex-president, there's an ex-doctor, a lawyer, a trade union, or you know what, just a great mom and dad. or the current speaker that we have right now. Let's not forget where we come from. Let's not forget how we got here. And that all starts with education. And I'm going to say it as my grandmother always tells me, if you do anything, do it as a labor of love. Because then no matter what happens, it's always going to be a success. And I'm happy, and I'm honored, and I'm proud to be a success of a labor of love from Southeast Texas. And I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful for your time. I appreciate each and every one of you. And let's go forward and make an entire area of state representative, doctors, lawyers, engineers, people in the petrochemical industry, people in the renewable energy, nurses, and everything else that we can imagine. Because if we cannot read and we cannot write and we cannot understand, then we are no longer a country or a nation. But if we continue to learn, we will be something greater than all of that, which is what we are right now, is we'll be a family. And I'm thankful that you all are part of my family, and I'm thankful to the teachers who were always there for me. And I thank you so much, and that's how we continue a pathway to success. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Representative. Aren't we lucky? Let's give him another round of applause. And I know he will be very happy to see all of his constituents back in his office when the session starts in January of 2025. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who also needs no introduction, Dr. Mark Portier, Superintendent at Port Arthur ISD.
Well, good afternoon to everyone, and it is a beautiful rainy morning or afternoon. So glad to see all of you out in the rain, and that is a good thing. I first would like to introduce the board members for the Port Arthur Independent School District. They are my boss, and I tell you one thing, I have the best school board members in the state of Texas. I'm telling you, we don't always agree, and you're not going to agree with everybody all the time, but I tell you, they have the students' interests at heart. And that is all we need in order to make it. So at the table we have our president, Mr. Barty, Brandon Barty. We have trustee, Dr. Johnny Brown. Trustee, Mrs. Deborah Ambrose. Trustee, Mr. Taylor Getwood. And trustee, Mrs. Kimberly Wyckoff Johnson. They keep me on my toes, and they expect the best for our students. It is great to look out and see so many students that are here. I'm sure they don't mind being outside of class for just a little bit, but I tell you, they work really, really hard. You've seen, I'm sure, some of the projects that our students have created, and it is a wonderful thing. The Port Arthur Independent School, well, before I even get started with that, I definitely want to thank our business that are here to support us, our city council who supports us. I will say that each time I have called the city council or called the city for something, they have been right there. And it takes the city and the school district to work in unison in order to make it happen. And there are things that happen every day that we need assistance. And we have businesses that when we call on them, they are there. Not just because they are waiting for us to call, but there are some times that we definitely need their support. And it's not all about finances. It's just about them being there. Sometimes they can say something in a way that we can't. And I'm sure some of you will realize that as parents, we tell our students things, and then someone else can tell them the same thing, and they believe them for some reason. I don't know why, but they do. So we definitely encourage, and we just thank you for being here today and supporting us throughout the year. We can't make it without the support of the entire community. Our parents, community members, businesses, and it is great to have your support. Now we don't go out there begging, and we don't want to do that, but we understand that when you do give us your time, your interest, and your funds, we have to do something. There are results that you need to see. And people just don't give up their time and expect us to do things, and you don't see anything from it. So hopefully you did see some of the products from Lamar State College and what they're doing. And we're preparing our students for Lamar State College, Lamar University, and universities across the United States. Right now, we're preparing for the STAR test and the end of course test. Now, you understand, living in Texas, that the state of Texas shuts down in April and May because we're preparing for testing. We don't always agree on that because we think every day should be a day of importance. But for Texas, STAR and EOC is most important. And our teachers have done an absolutely wonderful job at preparing our students for this year. And so we just know they're going to do a great job because they are good. You heard, my speech will be very short because you heard Representative Manuel talk about the people that he came in contact with in the Port Arthur Independent School District. And those individuals are just like that today. We want our students to be successful. We love our kids, the good, the challenging, the ones that don't want to come every day, those that give us a challenge personally. We still want them because they're ours. And we understand as educators, we feel we can change the world. You've heard some things, and I'm sure within the United States, we talk about private education, we talk about charter schools, we talk about public education. We have not come out against anything. We understand that parents have a choice for their child's education. I always tell you a little bit that I'm a product of parochial school from kindergarten through 12th grade. That was my parents' choice for me. I will say that the Port Arthur Independent School District does an absolutely wonderful job at preparing their students. So we're not in the business of bashing or saying what we need to do. What we're doing is proving every day why public education is important and why public education is the way to go. We teach every child that comes to us, homeless, children that come from families that are basically what I will say, not what we would call the traditional family. We teach children that come from, we have about 18 different ethnic groups within the Port Arthur Independent School District. We have students that really have challenges with special education, bilingual. We have them all, and we welcome them all. We do not tell them to go somewhere else. We don't tell them that we can't help you. We accept them and accept them with all of their challenges, and we will never stop doing that because that is what, as an educator, that's what we signed on for, to teach children. And we do not choose our children. Whoever comes to us every day, that is who we teach, no matter what. And we love them, so that is great. I did talk about the city, and I talked about businesses. The city has helped us. We have a long, and I will say that I teased them about that last year. You know, the city council is made up of, and I will say that again, made up of former PAISD board members. And we do have one, Mr. Kinlaw, that's in the house right now, and we have some that have worked with us. And it's just great that they understand what our needs are. You know, you have to understand the needs of an educator before you criticize or say anything about it, because it is something that is quite interesting. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Career and Technical Education Center that we have in the Port Arthur Independent School District. Our petrochemicals companies, they expect us, and I'm glad they do, to produce those individuals that are coming forward. They have a group maybe in some areas that are getting ready to retire, and they need people. And I've never seen it before. You know, when I was a young boy, the refineries were plentiful. And I'm not sure if you remember, but at 5 o'clock, there was a whistle that would blow. And you couldn't even get on the streets of Gulfway Drive or Memorial because they were shift changing. that is no more. That doesn't happen like that. But we still, and then there was a lull because of the layoffs at the refinery, so we've had to rebuild and try to get our parents to understand the benefits of being in petrochemical. And Lamar State College, along with us, we try to do a great job, but the parents have to understand the benefits and the jobs that the petrochemical industries, they produce, they pay a lot of money. They really do. And all of our students that are seated here today can take advantage of that. We want you all to take advantage of every opportunity within Port Arthur. Yes, we're not going to say, stay here, you can't go anywhere else, because there's a huge world out there. And we want you to be a part of any place, anywhere you want to go. However, we would like for you to stay here if possible and take advantage of the job opportunities that are here. And you can see, as we say all the time, we have people coming in from the north, the south, the east, and the west coming for the jobs that are here. And we want the people who are living here to wake up and go to those jobs, not have people coming from all around Texas coming. But that means we have to prepare our students, and you have to want it. And there are such things as soft skills that you have to have to understand, as it's just getting up and going to work. Work ethic is a huge thing that we try to teach our children. That wasn't something before that you had to teach, but now you have to teach work ethic. And that means if your job starts at 7, that means you be at the job at 6:30. You don't show up at the job at 5 to 7 or 7:03. That means 6:30, and when you go to the job, you stay until the job is complete. Just because your shift is over at 4, that doesn't necessarily mean you leave at 4. And this is, I'm telling you, you wouldn't believe that's something that we have to teach. I mean, that's something that just doesn't happen all the time. So there are certain things, and team player, being a team player, working with the individual and understanding that you're a part of a team, not just by yourself. You go to work and you're going to work by yourself and you're going to make it happen. That doesn't happen. So there are a lot that we are teaching our children now that we think is beneficial. A couple of weeks ago, I'm sure some of you have heard or you may have attended the Houston Rodeo. In Houston, it was huge. I mean, thousands of people there. And one thing in particular, I had a text, and they showed me where the Memorial High School students from the Career Technical Education had a rendition of a refinery that they built themselves. And it was highlighted at the Houston Rodeo. And now I'll just say what it is. HLSR Reserve Champion for Safety, 3rd place, and for project execution. So with all of the schools in the area, in the state of Texas, the Career and Technical Education Center was featured at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo. And that is because our students are smart, they are great, and I'm telling you, those kids, when they go into those classes and they start working with their hands, and I said this before, and I'm going to say it again, these are some of the programs that we have at the Career and Technical for 24-25, and I'm going to say it really, really quickly. Architectural design, HVAC and sheet metal, graphic design, digital communication, business management, real estate, diagnostic and therapeutic services, culinary arts, cosmetology and personal care services. Okay, let me see what that is. Law enforcement, manufacturing and technician, welding and automotive and collision repair. Art development. And I can't read my own writing, but all of those career classes, there's no reason why students should not be employed at the end of their high school education. And then we have the wonderful opportunity to work with Dr. Renard and her staff at Lamar State College for the Woodrow Wilson Early College High School. And we have students there that when they graduate from Memorial and they entered into the early college high school, they will graduate with a 2-year degree, associate degree, at 18. and they can enter post-secondary, career, or military, and move forward. They can enter into post-secondary as an 18-year-old, as a junior. Now that's wonderful. And you know what? All paid for by the Port Arthur Independent School District. Parents do not pay one single dime. We do it all. So those are just a couple of things that we are doing. If you've passed on 73, we're renovating the Special Projects building, the former Bishop Byrne, former St. Mary's building, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. We're moving everyone over there for transportation, maintenance, technology, another area, technical area. But all of those things will be right there across the street from the Port Arthur Independent School District Administration Building. And we are really, really proud. I do have a proclamation from the Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce that I'm going to ask Mr. Vandy Smith to come up. And he is under the leadership, come on up, under the leadership of Dr. Small and Dr. Lavette Martin at Port Arthur. And the proclamation reads, come on. Whereas the Greater Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce and the City of Port Arthur, Texas, officially recognizes the Memorial High School Career and Technical Education Program for Welding for their outstanding performance at the Houston Rodeo and Livestock Competition. Whereas the Memorial High School Career and Technical Education Program for Welding received recognition as the Reserve Champion for Safety. Whereas the Memorial High School Career and Technical Education Program for Welding received recognition in 3rd place for project execution. Whereas the Chamber recognizes the importance of having career and technical training for students in and around the city of Port Arthur. Now therefore, Joe Tant, President, CEO of the Greater Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce, do hereby recognize these students for their outstanding contributions to the Career and Technical Education Program, recognized this 4th day of March 2024. So thank you for your work, for your hard work, and for your students. And I would ask the students that are here, please stand up. Stand up. We have some of the red shirt. Come on up. Anytime you can get students to work with their hands and do some things, I'm telling you, if you come to visit the Career and Technical Education Center, you will see students that are working with their hands, with their minds, and so we're just happy for it. Thank you, Danny. I will say thank you to these gentlemen, and that was a surprise. Well, good. Thank you, and keep praying for us.
Okay, we have one more special guest to introduce. Wasn't that exciting? I know y'all thought it was the end, but it's not. I have the distinct honor and pleasure again to introduce a very special person, but I don't see where she went. Where is she? Did Dr. Betty Renard have to leave? Oh, there she is in the background. I just can't say enough about Dr. Renard. Since she took over Lamar State College, Port Arthur in 2014, I think it has just thrived. It is just a beacon of just excitement. As someone that works with industry a lot, we are so honored and privileged to have her commitment to providing education programs that support those jobs that Dr. Portery was just talking about. And we at Port Arthur LNG are so honored to have her as part of our Port Arthur LNG Advisory Committee. We get so much great advice from her and look forward to her wisdom, as I know all of you do. So at this time, please welcome Dr. Betty Renard, Lamar State College, Port Arthur President.
Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that I have a congressional committee meeting at 1 o'clock that I have to call into. So that means that you're going to get a really short, abbreviated presentation about the college today. So anyway, Joe Tant, thank you very much for organizing this event. Joe does it year in and year out, and we're very grateful to be able to showcase some of the things that are going on in our community to support Lamar State College Port Arthur and the citizens of Port Arthur. I do have to acknowledge and would ask that all of the Lamar State College Port Arthur faculty and staff and students please stand up so that we can thank you for your participation today. So these are the people that make things happen on the campus, for sure. So it's no secret that a lot of things are going on campus, and all you have to do is drive down Proctor Street and see the construction of our new Allied Health and Science building. Should be finished in March of next year. That's what we're planning on. The other project that is about to kick off, and I know it's about to kick off because I had to move out of my office today because it's going to start in June. We will be completely renovating the Madison Monroe building. So we'll be getting that building up to code, make sure the air conditioner works. So that's happening. This past year has been very, very busy for our campus. And all of our activities last, late August, early September, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Bradford and Dr. Millsap over here, we had a 39% increase in enrollment in last fall. It was huge. So our enrollment now is topping somewhere around 4,000 students. And probably a lot of you don't know, we are actually in 23 different locations right now. And that includes a lot of our local high schools, but it also includes some campuses, some high school campuses outside the area. Our latest addition, or our latest site for teaching is in Polk County in Livingston. So Lamar State College Port Arthur, LIT, and Lamar State College Orange will all be teaching classes in Livingston. So those increases in enrollment that I mentioned to you were primarily a result of increased enrollment in dual credit classes. And that has always been strong for us, but in particular this last fall it really increased quite a bit because the state passed some legislation and some budget adjustments that would allow students that, I'll read it to you right off the website. It says it provides funding to participating public institutions of higher education so they can offer dual credit classes to educationally disadvantaged students at no cost to the students. So that was huge. That took several weeks to get all of those students registered and enrolled, but it was a heavy lift, but we managed to get it done. But on top of that, the other thing that contributed to our increase in enrollment, over the last couple years, Speaker Phelan and Senator Creighton's office have been working to help us reduce tuition costs. So we've been able to, in the last couple years, reduce tuition to Lamar State College Port Arthur by 50%. So when the trend is the opposite direction, we're bucking that trend and reducing the cost of education. On top of that, in our spare time, we also have plans to begin 4 new programs on our campus. And one of them is a mechanical maintenance program. At the recommendation of our advisory committee, we will be starting that program. We also are going to implement an EMT program, a patient care technician program. And for those of you that are parents and kids with those cell phones that they're on constantly, we are going to begin a social media and digital communication program because, believe it or not, companies are hiring people that know how to do marketing in social media worlds. We also have some other things that are going to be coming up that you might be interested in. I don't believe Maurice Abelman is here. He is the director of our graphic design program. That big water tower that is just on the other side of downtown Port Arthur is going to get a facelift thanks to Maurice and our graphic design students. So they'll be working on that. I think they're going to begin this summer. I also, last week, visited a lot of offices last week in Washington, but I spent some time in Congressman Weber's office, and Congressman Weber has an interest and has been to our community to try and push forward the development of LNG facilities in Southeast Texas. And so as a result of that, a congressional committee, it's the Committee on Energy and Commerce, is going to be visiting Port Arthur in early April. And so that's the 1 o'clock call that I have to take, is to make arrangements for that. So they will be visiting our campus and listening to the community about the importance of the LNG industry and the petrochemical industries in this area, how important they are to our campus and to our community. So we will be participating in that. And I think I have 10 minutes to get back to my office and a few minutes to log into my call. So thank you very much for participating in this event. I thoroughly enjoy hearing from everybody that presents at these meetings, and glad to see all of the people that support Lamar State College, Port Arthur ISD, and the community in general. So thank you very much for coming. Have a good day.
When Doc's got to go, Doc's got to go. So we appreciate y'all very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming today. This is what it's about. This is your future in this room. Look to your left, look to your right. We support education in everything that we do, and we appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming. Y'all have a fantastic afternoon, and we appreciate y'all being here. Bye-bye.